Okay, so we'll start. Hey everyone, you requested to give us your utmost attention for a while, and there's a lot of interesting stuff coming your way. If at any time you cease to see the presentation, just inform us.
Today, we've been given a chance to present our adventure like project, which we call Social Elysium.
As you can see on the screen, our motto is change is the only constant. We'll tell you more about ourselves in a while now.
Today's presenters are Niyama Dhillan, founder, marketing manager, social media team, editor, designer, and content writer. Snigdha Paul, founder, human resources and content writer. Samrat Vashish, submissions manager and content writer. Lubna Aman, quality control team and social media team. Arhan Singh, content writer.
This presentation contains first, what is Social Elysium and its origin story? Second, why was 2020 the perfect time to start? Third, Social Elysium's productivity over to 2020 and now. Fourth, why are youth-based organizations important? Fifth, tips on writing content. Sixth, tips on poetry. Seventh, tips on editing. Eighth, tips on marketing. Nine, how to get your work on Kindle. And 10, how to make your own podcast.
So the idea of Social Elysium came to me while I was mindlessly scrolling through my Instagram's Explore page and saw many recommended posts that were related to the change in the societal point of view. I ended up with those midnight looking at the ceiling thoughts and felt that if those posts are recommended to me, why don't I actually do something about it? That's when I messaged my best friend regarding the idea of having a magazine that targets social issues and the way society really works, and she agreed to be a part of it. Subsequently, we reached out to more people. Social Elysium, in a simpler sense, means paradise. After a long discussion, we actually came to this name, and to us, it was just perfect. What we are trying to do matches Social Elysium because what we're trying to do is make society a better place so that people never feel threatened.
Subsequently, we reached out to people who would be interested in making this a reality. Social Elysium is a magazine with 11 teens on core team. Many teenagers were associated and many social media influencers are getting involved. We know each other either through common friends or have met each other at least once. It's a pan-India magazine. We live in different cities as we are children of military and ex-military officers. Therefore, Social Elysium is a multi-city initiative with strong digital presence and gets appreciation from readers of other countries too.
Teenagers from NCS Mumbai, Vizag, Goa, Delhi, Presidium Delhi, Sanskriti School Delhi, and KV Bhubaneswar are also in its team. We strive forward with the goal of sparking change in our society as we follow two principles. One, the youth has the power to spark changes. Second, change is the only constant.
2020 isolated everyone with lockdown, and children weren't able to interact in schools or go out to play and felt sad, dismayed, and cut off from friends. This was also an opportunity to spread positivity and team building virtues. Social Elysium used the only tool to bring people together, digital media, for the betterment of youngsters and society. Social Elysium is an idea and platform to bring together the youth and harness their untapped energy. Meetings and discussions brought together a sense of togetherness and skills for development, especially technical skills like web designing or grammatical skills like editing and writing articles, etc.
Okay, Social Elysium's productivity and achievements. This idea, and by 27th we had our final team. Then there was a week of discussion, the name, the color theme, and the color palettes, the topics, everything from the 27th to then we went ahead with our announcements and for the first volume. Actually, this was only supposed to be one volume, and then we were supposed to wait for the boards to get over. But we got tons and tons of articles and so much support. So we had to divide one issue into two. That's why we are called Social Elysium. Volume 1, there is a part A and a part B. The part A is called the debut, and the part B is called Mary Mary Mary. And the first one is just a normal themed magazine with the color format of blue and white, and the second one is Christmas themed. That's why Mary Mary Mary. Then we released our first volume on the 30th of October, and then subsequently we had the first volume on Kindle on the 7th of November. Then our second volume came out on the 20th on Kindle on the 20th of December, and the second volume proper in the PDF format came out of December. And the podcast is in as podcast. So Mark, you can take over this one.
Yes, Niyamat. So in schools, teachers do give us extra information regarding stuff like good touch or bad touch. However, not so much about what happens in the world around us. Social Elysium is the extra mile. In both the editions that have come out in 2020, they've only talked about body related stigma. They know that it's a long journey, not for them, but for the 7.8 billion people before the world is a perfect place. Where
Journey
Maslow's
and the 7.8 billion is market hierarchy is fulfilled for everyone in every country, where people don't have to fear for their lives and stuff.
where people don't have to feel.
So
Where
as you
Mas-
can see on Samrat, your voice is cracking, and then you're like, you're not able to
it's
hear you.
cracking. Uh, I think it's my internet
Yeah,
connection. Is it fine now?
yeah, no, no, it's good.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine
But
now.
for the 7.8 billion people before the world is a perfect place, where Maslow's need hierarchy is fulfilled for everyone in every country, where people don't have to fear for their lives, where help and protection is provided for those who need it and not by privilege, and where the world can finally be a better place. Forget slogans like Make America Great Again and preach Make the World Great Again. So join us in trying to spark the change with your support and your content. In the subsequent issues, we are trying to highlight the following. We fight fascism, we fight racism, we fight societal beauty standards, we fight child abuse, we fight corruption, we fight oppression. We are here for a better world. Defend freedom, defend rights, defend justice, defend equality, defend animals, and lastly, defend nature.
So here we have some tips for content writing. So the first one says super catchy headline. So the headline determines whether the audience will be reading the rest of your work. If your headline doesn't spark interest, stir an emotion, or make the reader want to learn more about the topic, you simply won't achieve the desired results with your content. Next is attention grasping first lines. The first sentence also plays a role in determining whether they read the rest of your content. It should capture the reader's attention and smoothly lead them into your first point. Next is focus on one thing, don't keep switching topics. You should identify at least one key message you'd like to convey before you create your content.
The next
So the
point is pretty
next point is pretty
self-explanatory.
self-explanatory. Next, use simpler words. Don't become Sashi Tharoor everywhere. No one has time to open a dictionary, they'll just move on. So try to be as raw and simple as possible. Next, edit where whatever you have written. Even though there are people to edit your articles, too many errors will cause them to just scrape the article completely. So try to go through what you've written twice or thrice.
Now we have tips for poetry. There are many different types of poetry available to you, like ballads or sonnets or limericks or haikus. Even if there's one specific type of poetry that you're comfortable with and you consider it your bread and butter, it is worth experimenting with different poetry forms. You can try writing a short poem like a haiku or write a longer narrative poem in a free verse. Write a few quick nursery rhymes, and playing with the form can help you build up your poetry writing skills and find new types of poetry that do fit your style. Alter your rhyme schemes and experiment with it. One of the very exciting aspect of poetry is the many literary devices and poetic techniques at your disposal. Playing with alliteration or assonance or onomatopoeia can bring a variety of sounds to your work. Research about various poetic devices and try to incorporate new techniques into your poetry. Then there are no rules in poetry. You can write whatever you want and however you want. There also there also doesn't need to be a specific rhyme scheme that you need to follow. You can, as I said earlier, you can write a free verse. Secondly, keep a journal. Keep a journal to track whatever you're writing every day, to track your motivations, to track your thoughts. And lastly, keep it meaningful and raw, which the readers find relatable and interesting. But do not forget, poetry is not for the readers, it is only to express yourselves in a different way.
Okay, now editing. I would like to explain editing through personal experiences. Honestly, guys, I would really say that editing is the hardest part of having an e-magazine, all because you're taking on somebody else's article and then trying to perfect it, keeping it on the typos and grammatical errors. Then you can do that just by putting up that article into Google Docs, and it itself will find out the typos and the grammatical errors. But editing is a lot more than that. Let me go over it. The first time we got an influencer's article, she had written only one paragraph and it was a very small one. So after writing 2 or 3 emails, we got another paragraph and we put it together to still have a in comparison to the other articles. But together it just did not make sense. So we had to edit it in such a form that both the paragraphs actually combined together. Like the core was same, body positivity, yes. But then the focus, like we spoke about in tips for content writing, is about society. The is about internalized body shaming. So we had to combine the articles. Now that we had to edit. Another influencer article was very, very rude. Like it was about brands. So we're going to call you out. You can order this to us. We're plus size, so we don't have to hide our bodies. Give us good clothes and stuff. So it was very, very rude. And so we had to keep in mind the readers. So for those readers, we had to bring the tone down a notch. So we had to edit the articles, and she used semicolons and hyphens everywhere in places that grammatically did not make sense, and the Google Docs did not catch that. So we had to edit that too. In some other cases, another thing happened with one of our content writers who's in NCS Goa. He sent his article, a very well written one, about celebrities. So, comparing ourselves to celebrities like Gigi Hadid, Kim Kardashian, people like that. So, it was actually very well written. But when we were putting it into a convenient form, it's like it was in a VPS format, we had to put it. Every single word was, attached together. There were no spaces in the whole article. So for such articles, you need a mental headspace. So when you find an article difficult to edit, you should keep it aside. Wait till you have the mental headspace to do it. Grab a coffee or tea or whatever you drink. It could even be cold or hot water. Just be in the mental headspace, be in a calm environment to edit an article. If music helps you, go for it. I always use music everywhere. Even while studying, sometimes I use music. So music does help a lot. But tips for editing are basically that editing is just not about typos and grammatical errors. It is about a lot more. And that we have to keep in mind. So next, I would like to speak about marketing and the proper customers you actually want to cater to. So basically, all of us know what marketing is. It's almost like social media if you don't have to make a whole Vikyapan and put it up. But social media right now is the biggest marketing platform. And once you can ace social media, you can ace a lot of stuff. So there are a lot of courses which even I have taken on Instagram marketing, Facebook marketing. Facebook marketing, I actually didn't understand. That's why we do not have a page for Social Elysium on Facebook. But there are various types of marketing techniques. But the most core thing is actually finding the customers you want to cater to. Like IIMUN, taking their example, I'm a CA over there, and what they do is they try to focus their stuff onto their youth. Because if you send it to 65-year-old people, they are not going to reply. 40-year-old, they are not going to reply. 20-year-old, they're not going to reply. But if you reach out to the high schoolers and middle schoolers, they will reply and participate. So that is very important to keep in mind. The people you want to cater to. So that is basically all marketing is about. Next, algorithms. So Instagram's algorithm keep changing. Like once you'll see that the save button is not important, comment button is important. Once you'll see this, once you'll see that. So acing an algorithm is very very important. Then continuity and presence. So you can't just post and then disappear for a while. That is not how marketing works. You'll keep losing followers, you'll keep having people who are losing interest in your product, you'll just keep having stuff like that. So you have to keep continuous presence over there. That's all marketing is basically about. And yes, the aesthetic of how you're marketing stuff, like that's why we say that make the vigyapan colorful, because if you do not make a vigyapan colorful, I wouldn't want to read a black and white vigyapan. So the aesthetic of it, the whole product, everything you have to keep in mind. You have to keep in mind what you're offering to the others. You have to keep in mind why are they benefiting from that offer. So all that stuff is by marketing is a little difficult because you always do not know whom you are going to reach in the end and stuff. But yeah, that's basically it.
So now getting your work on Kindle. So basically, there is one website for it. It's called kdp.amazon.com. So why it says US bookshelf is because this is our bookshelf. We have to live books. Like to talk about why I do not prefer people going on the Kindle. That is because when we were trying to put our magazine on Kindle, our plea for putting the first one on, which is this one, the debut volume 1 part A, got rejected thrice. And the fourth time, we had to make another email ID to only make another account so that it does not get rejected again. So we made another account, and then the sixth time we tried, it actually got released. It was either the fifth or sixth time we tried. So that's the reason why we have to over there. It was very very hard. We wanted our Kindle edition to come out before the PDF edition, like we did with the second one, but that just did not happen because of the timeline and because of all the rejections. Great one. So you choose Kindle ebook after logging in. First of all, they will ask for your bank details and stuff because Kindle pays per thousand readers. It pays you. So you have to write all your bank account, where your bank is situated, what currency you want to be paid in. Sometimes it will not accept if you write. All that stuff is also why it's very hard. Then once you're done with all that, you press Kindle ebook and you have to sign in. And after you sign in, you'll be given a bunch of options. You always have to change your PDF into a EPUB. So that's why I contacted Samrat for it. I asked Samrat to change the Kindle into the PDF into an EPUB, because while I was trying to do it on my Linux, it was not happening. So I was trying it again and again, but it was still continuing in PDF, and the fonts were going up, the fonts were going down, the images were going left, right. So it was not happening. So I asked Samrat to convert it and send it to me. Then I uploaded it, and of course the rejections and stuff, but in the end it did happen. So when you go on to publishing your ebook, you have to put the cover of it. So you're supposed to have your cover differently as a PNG or a JPEG, and then you have to have a proper description for it, and the age limit and all that it will ask you, but the steps they will give you right in front of you. So those are self-explanatory. Then how to make your own podcast. I'll just come back to the meeting. Okay, so there are there is one app you have both on iOS and on what do you call it? Yeah, Android. Yes. So on this app is called Anchor. If you have Spotify, which is not the premium one, you'll hear about its ads like, do you want to do you want the world to know what you're thinking about? And it will ask stuff like that. So then it will say, join Anchor app and you can make your own podcast and stuff like that. So when you open it in iOS, this is what comes, and when you open it in Anchor on Android, this is what comes. So it's basically the same. iOS just has a lot of pauses and it library and stuff. It is just a lot more simpler on iOS, but that's it's very easy to use on both. So when you set up your own podcast, it will ask for your name, for the cover or the channel art or the podcast art which you have to upload, and then they will ask the description and they will ask what kind of people are you trying to cater to. So we chose culture and society, and our podcast is called Topsy Turvy Town. I will just show it to you. So yeah, so we have not released this officially on our Instagram or anywhere anyone is actually seeing our logo for or the podcast art. So this is our podcast art. Our description is talking about the upside down ideals of the society, and it's called Topsy Turvy Town by Social Elysium. So you have to go on the Anchor app, log in, and do everything, and then you will be given the option to record or import from library. You have to make sure you do not use anything copyrighted. So my father, he had this phase where he wanted to become an RJ. So he went on Anchor and he tried to use AC/DC songs and all that rock stuff, but it did not work out for him because it was already copyrighted. We didn't know it was copyrighted, and through my father, I actually know you cannot use anything that's copyrighted. So do not use music or anything on the Anchor app because it's never actually going to reach Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or Spotify. It will get rejected on Anchor itself and be taken down from there. So you have to use your own personal stuff. So after that, when you're setting up your podcast, when you actually release your first one, they will ask you if you want to manually put it up on Spotify, Apple Podcasts or stuff. Manual, why is it helpful? Because you get to have the control of it in your own hands. And by asking Anchor to put it up, you do not know if it's actually reaching the places. So Anchor says that it takes 24 hours after it has been approved by Anchor itself to be or to be on Spotify. But we have not released it yet. But we are sure that it will happen that way. But if you're planning to do it manually, then there is a website called Spotify for Podcasters. Over there, you have to go into your Anchor settings, and there they will give you your RSS feed. That is your feed, or that is your link, which has to be pasted on the Spotify for Podcasters website. The same is with the Apple Podcast RSS feed. After that, you copy that and you paste it both the places, and then again they will generate, check for copyright, and if it's okay with Anchor, they will put it up there. So that's basically how to make your own podcast. So to contact us, our Instagram is @thesocialelysium, and our mail is thesocialelysium@gmail.com. The floor is open for questions. If you want to see the cover art of both the magazines, if you want to know more questions, you can go ahead and ask us now. Are there any questions? Okay, Yashi, go ahead.
So I want to ask, like, are you do you take content writing, like content from other people also, like you do it from your team only?
No, we do not do it from our team. Otherwise, if we had it from our team, we would not have to put one volume into 2 editions. So we got a lot of support from people from other NCSs and NCS Mumbai. So that's why we take other people's content too. And right now we are actually, even in the latest edition, we had this cover that we are actually hiring people as in content writers and people who want to talk and be part of the podcast and stuff. So yeah, we take content from other people too. in any language.
Okay.
Do you have any other questions? Yeah, Ankita, go ahead.
So basically, I have two questions. First one is how much do you earn through your social media apps and everything? Second one is how do you edit your online magazines and how much approximately time does it take?
Okay, first of all, earning, the only way a magazine can earn is through Kindle or some place where you are actually publishing it. But e-magazine, the only place is Kindle. Kindle pays per thousand viewers. After that, if you reach 1,000 viewers on any one of your ebook, it will pay per viewer, so or per reader. So before that, you do not get any money out of it. Second, editing. There are many apps. The first magazine. I'll just show both the magazines. Okay, screen share. So when we first started this magazine, I almost did not have any idea about this presence on social media, how to edit and stuff. So I did not have much of an idea about it. By editing on PixArt. So we took Lubna made the first one. 1 second, it's just opening. Yes, it's up. So we did not actually have any sense or idea on how to actually make it through any other app. So we just made a mood board sort of a thing on body, and rest is one stuff. Rest is all Instagram. So we put it on Instagram, took their font and put it here. So this is the Instagram font. So when we started, we had no idea about how to go through with it. Then the second edition, we actually got an idea and started using Canva. So Canva already gives templates, but we honestly did not like the templates over there. I was over there and I did not appreciate the templates. So I started with a bare template on a A4 size. And okay, since this is not a thing, I'll just So this I edited myself. This I edited on PixArt because I did not know anywhere else. So I got the Santa through Google, and then I edited the waist tape on him, and then we made it a Christmas themed edition. And now after that, after finding out that Canva is the way to go, we started using Canva, and these are the Canva fonts, and we got this out of Canva, and that's why as a team, we feel that the second edition is much more better than the first, even though the first is more in detail about every single one of the participants, there's a proper detailed game on the first one, but the second one is more interesting and more excited. It has influencers. In the first one, we have Padmaja ma'am who wrote for us, but in the second one, we have influencers. So teenagers would be more into reading influencers. This is Jia Gupta. She has reached 70K followers. This was in December. She has now reached 70K. This is Pratna Agarwal. Um, then this is Pashmina girl. She actually lives here in Nofra in Archana building. So right across my building. So this is Kia Ira Kalyan. She's the daughter of a naval officer. So she also agreed to write for us, and she also spoke to us through meeting, Zoom meeting. And we also wrote this is Big Bang Theory. So is your body mass somehow tied to your self-worth? Well, yeah. Then he says interesting. So our second one has better editing and stuff. So Canva is the way to go if you want to start editing your own magazine, and not something like PixArt. Even though PixArt is easy and Fonto is easy and Instagram fonts are easy to use, but the aesthetic of it is just a little low. The quality is just a little low.
So what you basically do is you just create images and then convert it into a PDF.
Yes, so we go through with .png, we save it in that and then go to small PDF and then put it in a PDF format. Does anybody else have any other question?
Where we can access your magazine?
Access links, I think I sent over a lot of links. So there is a Linktree link, and through Linktree there are two PDF ones and then the Kindle ones. It's all there. So I just sent it to Anurit ma'am. I did send it there, so I think she'll forward it or something.
Yeah, she has forwarded. It's a very common question. All YouTubers also receive what you are earning from it. At this age and stage, the earning should not matter. The thing should be that you should be able to gain experience. And one thing leads to another when you learn from one to another, and a group of children coming together. As this team, of course, they would have learned from each other. So when you work together, obviously you are learning from others' strengths also, and you are getting to know more about more opportunities. So it's about utilizing your creativity and gaining experience from it, and not about money at all. Because that, as they mentioned, they cannot be on Facebook, because legally, if you be on Facebook, you have to be above the age of 18. So there are some things that is not possible. There are others which are possible, and that is what the journey is all about. So it's time that we say bye to Social Elysium as of now. Join them. There is Joydeep, your question about can we read all the volumes? If you the invite that they sent as where they have written that these are the topics we are going to cover today, they've also in that shared their link tree, which is a link to all the work that they've done till now. Whichever you want to click on, you can read their work. Also, along with that, where in whatever way you want to contribute, you can contribute, and you wish to get in touch with them, you may do that also. So with that, we thank Social Elysium for being here, and hope others also join you in your endeavor, and it becomes a bigger thing for NCS Mumbai, and the children are seen in many places, and you become the light for other children from not just NCS but other school children of other schools even. So all the best to not just the presenters today, all the best to the audience also, to think over the lines and join.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much,
ma'am.
children. Thank you
Enjoy
so
your
much.
Thank you,
It was
ma'am.
day.
very nice.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Have a nice day, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Have a
And
nice day.
and once again, thanks Social Elysium.